My name's Tori. I talk about personal growth and development, wellness, lifestyle content, all things me. Don't mind the barking. I'm pet sitting and the dogs are outside having fun. I had to make this video because I was going to journal about it, and I will, but while everything's fresh in my head and exciting, I just wanted to remember this because I came to a revelation, and it's one that I've needed for a while. I actually shouldn't even give myself the credit. I was talking to my friend and she gave me this revelation, and I thought I'd share that. So in my last video, I talked about how I quit my job as an outpatient therapist. So I'll still be there for another couple weeks, but I'm finishing up. I just was not getting paid enough, and that has been such a source of insecurity for me for years now. I am 30 years old. I still live with my dad. I can't afford my own place right now. So because of that, it's just been so easy to put myself down and compare myself to the standard of how everyone else is living. But I have accomplished so much in a really short amount of time, and it's really hard for me to even recognize that because I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor in a financial sense. And even though I'm doing a lot of inner work and really developing as myself more and more, nothing feels like enough because I can't afford to just be an adult and live and have my own place, even if it's an apartment. I don't base my worth off of it, but it makes me very frustrated and feeling down about it and feeling trapped and hopeless in a lot of ways. So I was talking to my friend, and she's also an avid journaler, so she is very self-reflective. So it's really nice to have someone that thinks as much as I do and wants to continue to grow as a person, as a Christian, and just getting closer to God and to faith, and really recognizing what faith is and what trust is, what love is. October of last year was one of our best months. We both had such a great month. We were so fulfilled in so many ways that month. I had gotten a new job, the one that I'm quitting now. I was really excited about it. I started dancing again last year, and dance is something that I grew up doing, and it was just always so hard to find adult dance classes. And I had finally found an adult studio that's become my home, and I had been practicing for my first dance recital in 13 years. We had made a lot more friends at our church because a lot more young adults are coming, and years ago, the young adults group was maybe 10 max of us. Now there's 30, 40 young adults at our church, so it's been really nice to make new friends, especially because it's been so hard to find a community here. A lot of my friends, from high school or college, are all just sprawled out throughout the state and the country or the world, and so it took me a long time since moving to this area to develop a social life, especially when I was in grad school. I didn't have any time for a social life, so I just didn't really hang out with anyone. And so it's been really refreshing to finally feel like I have a life here and I'm established here and I have my people. And why I mention October is because since it was such a good month, we were all right, let's keep this momentum. Let's, October energy all year long type of thing. And so back in April-ish, we had our 6-month mark since October, and we were kind of going over all the things that we'd accomplished since October. And I kept saying I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. I feel like it doesn't feel like anything. I'm not making the money I need to make. I feel and this was also something that I had brought up in my own therapy multiple times, is since I'm not making enough money to survive, I might as well just rip up my master's degree and burn it or throw it out. Not to be dramatic, but that's how it felt. It felt like nothing that I had accomplished even mattered because I wasn't getting what I needed. I say all this to say, like, October is coming up in a couple months, and I had messaged my friend yesterday and was like, you know what's really annoying? And she's like, what? And I'm like, October's coming up. And she's like, why is that annoying? And I'm like, I'm really frustrated that I'm not where I want to be. Years keep going by and I feel like nothing is changing for me. She goes, I completely hear that, and I feel like that's normal to feel when you're early on in your career. I think you've been doing a lot of internal work, and it's tough because that doesn't show as much as all the external milestone stuff. And I said, thank you for saying that. I'm frustrated at myself for even feeling this way. And she said, don't be. It's good to feel the feels, but also to talk or parent yourself through it as to what is the truth and what is the lie. You're right where you're supposed to be and doing the long, slow work because at any moment the right door opens and things could advance very suddenly. I said, thank you, I pray you're right. Then I was like thinking, and I was like, why am I so hard on myself? Like, how dare I measure my success just based on money? How dare I minimize all the hard work I've done and everything else I've accomplished just because of money? And obviously that is important and I'll get there, but I think just reminding myself that I'll get there. And I really don't, I'm in a position, thankfully, where I don't need to rush. I am supported. Obviously, I feel guilty for it. I feel guilty for not having my own place already and all that. I have accomplished a lot. I started and ended a job. I did 2 dance recitals. I almost read the whole Bible. I have a few books left and then I'm done with the whole Bible. I read the Bible in 6 months. That's an accomplishment. I went on a few vacations with my best friends. That's an accomplishment. I'm taking care of my dad. My friend, sent me a list, so I had to squeeze this video in here because I found the text that my friend sent me from March or April when we were going over the 6 months and how much we'd accomplished since October. And of course, I was being a little rugrat and I don't feel like I accomplished anything. And she's like, since October, you got a job, built clientele, navigated creating a schedule, took on your first couple, because I started working with couples, dealt with a work issue while simultaneously diving into the word and building your self-worth, and went through everything with your dad, the car, and your shoulder, because my dad has health issues and I helped take care of him. A deer ran in front of my car, so my car was in the shop for 3 months. And then I broke my shoulder in February and was out of condition. I couldn't dance or anything for 3 months then also. She goes, and you still squeezed in a trip to Miami. I think that's pretty impressive. And your first adult dance recital. Get you a friend that will remind you who the F you are, right? And I actually screenshotted this and I sent them to her and I'm like, I found it. Thank you for always reminding me who I am. She goes, Tori, that really is so much. And now top on Santa Fe, because we went to Santa Fe together in June, a bachelorette, your 30th, your dad in the hospital, another recital, including a solo, and putting in your resignation to go to the next level, and your first hot air balloon ride. When I was in Santa Fe, I went in a hot air balloon. I'm so blessed. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even realize how much I've done in just those 6 months. So I really wanted to hold myself accountable and journal and really think about how much I really have done. And so I reached out to her again later on today and was like, I'm getting really emotional because why am I doing that to myself? She actually messaged me back and was like, wait, I saw this on Instagram and I feel like this is why. It's literally an attack and you need to stay on your guard against those kinds of thoughts. She sent me a screenshot of a reel and it says, the enemy didn't tempt Eve with lack of provision. He tempted her to forget it. God gave them an entire garden and Satan got them obsessed with one tree. That's still his strategy. Ugh, I'm getting goosebumps. He'll keep your eyes on the one thing you don't have until you're blind to everything God already has. That makes me really emotional because that's exactly what's been happening to me, is this constant attack of I shouldn't feel like I'm doing anything worth noticing as accomplishment just because I don't have money. And she goes, you have to constantly remind yourself how far God has brought you and that He will continue to carry you and that He does not rush, so neither should you. She said, I think it's tough sometimes not to judge ourselves through our cultural lens, but trust that if you're following Him, you're right where you need to be. And that is definitely something worth noting, because God is the same today as He always was, and yet our culture is constantly changing. I get, obviously, in my head of when is it going to feel like enough? And I have to keep trusting God. That's what faith is. And I was really surprised that this is what gave me that revelation, because, sometimes it's just duh. As a Christian, you're duh. But I said to her, I was thank you. I needed that, and it's so true. I can't believe it's been so hard for me to recognize that that's Satan. She goes, well, he's a trickster. I thought that was really cute and funny. I thought that was so important for me to share. Sometimes it's hard for me to talk about being a Christian because I completely understand how people have been hurt by Christians. I've been hurt by Christians. I hope that everyone has better experiences with Christians and represent who Christ truly is. Just remember that humans are so imperfect, so flawed, and not everyone can represent Christ the way He truly is. Some people get wrapped up in the self-righteousness of religion. No matter where you are in your journey, no matter who you are, no matter what religion, race, anything that you are, Christ, all He wants is a relationship with you. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be sinless. He knows we're never going to be without sin. He knows we're human beings and we live in our flesh and we're always going to make mistakes and we're always going to struggle. He knows all of that. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And all He wants is a relationship with you. I don't mean to be all preachy and stuff, but as someone who was an atheist the majority of her life, He's done wonders in my life and wonders in so many other people's lives that I've seen. It's been such an interesting journey. I just hope my relationship with Christ just keeps growing and flourishing and I stay close to Him. Alright, well, thank you guys for listening. Now I'm gonna eat my dinner. I have a lobster roll, seafood. See you guys in my next one. Thank you.